Okay. Well, thanks everybody for joining, and thanks for giving me some grace for taking last week off. I had to.
We appreciate you doing this every week for us, Chrissy.
Oh,
You know,
well,
it's a lot. in the
I
community.
appreciate you guys for showing up, because I mean, I enjoy doing this, and it actually really does help my week start off in the right way. It was just, there was just so much. And Mother's Day, I didn't get home that day until like 8:30, and I still was so unprepared for my week, and was like, well, for my mental health, I need this day to get myself organized. So all good, all good.
All good.
So yes, we had a great, fun, beautiful weekend again here. We're so lucky. So thanks for coming back, and we will be sharing the video out on YouTube and whatnot. So for those, if we have some good content here that we roll out today, feel free to share it with anybody else. So we're going to start today with Nikki. Haven't seen your face in a couple weeks. Lots going on. So tell us what's going on with the market, and then also anything you want to talk about as far as, you know, products that you're excited about, or what's new and exciting that we can kind of take and run with, that might help us with some business as well.
Sure. Awesome. So, hey everyone. So the word, kind of the phrase on the mortgage market street, if you want to call it, is what's called market compression. So that's the new media buzzwords. What does that mean? Market compression. What does that mean? Why are we saying these words? What is happening? So that's kind of the hot topic right now as we head into June 1st or June 2nd, when the government decides whether they're going to default on their debt or not. So what they mean by market compression is just the idea that the amount of clients or potential buyers has started to shrink. And that can be due to interest rates, that can be due to pricing, that can be due to appreciation, things of that nature. It can also be due to unemployment, you know, whatever, all these factors that come in and they create what's called market compression. What that means is, because there's not as many available buyers or as many available clients, borrowers, whatever you want to call them, the amount of money to lend kind of compresses down. In other words, there isn't just a lot there. So therefore, what it causes, in part due to inflation, but a lot of times what that causes in our environment is for interest rates to go up, because banks need to make money. Okay, so if on the money that they have to lend, they need to make money on that. If there's not as big of a pool of buyers, you're going to see those interest rates tend to go up, tend to increase a little bit. With that being said, you know, as we can tell, that is the buzzword, because look what happened last week. So this is right after the inflation numbers came out. Remember, I was talking a couple of weeks ago, like we're waiting for this day to come out and this consumer price index for the inflation numbers to come out. Well, since that time, they're starting to use the phrase market compression. And what is that doing? That's pushing these interest rates right back up. So what we have right now are interest rates that are going into the high sixes. You can see there's some negative or some slight increase happening today. That's really not going to affect interest rates all that much, but you can see that the trend is going back upwards. Part of that is due to this market compression. And then part of that is due to kind of waiting and seeing what the government's going to do on that federal debt. If they do default, interest rates from a mortgage standpoint will go into probably the 10 to 12% range. Yep.
What?
Yep. So we're going to be back in the 80s. Not only is the fashion coming back, but so are the mortgage interest rates. So will that happen?
Stop it.
Hoping not. You know, all the financial advisors that I've talked to, all the people that are, you know, economists that I know of that I've talked to are saying, no, this can't happen. They're going to figure it out. They always figure it out. This, you know, but we've also seen, you know, things that no one ever thought possible happened before, i.e. interest rates in the 2% range. So anything's possible at this point. The reason I can't get into specifics or the very reason why, if we default on federal debt, then mortgage interest rates go up. I don't know if there's a direct correlation between that, but from what the articles that I've been reading and the things that I've been saying, it's like that will push interest rates into the 10 to 12% range. So we have to just be, that is going to create that much more market compression and that much more that many less borrowers or less clients. And that's going to drive home prices down, obviously, because something's got to give. Either the interest rates have to give or the home prices have to give. So it'll be an interesting next 3 to 4 weeks to see what happens from that standpoint. In the same way, what do I always say? We got to keep doing what we know works best. We got to keep, in touch with our past clients. We got to keep in touch with our current pre-approvals. We have to guide them and strategize through what's happening in the market and what the current changes are. And then we have to be able to weather the storm ourselves from a mental standpoint as well, because it's, if something like that does happen, it's going to take a toll on us mentally. And we're going to have to, just use each other for support in order to say, what can we do? How can we help? What's available in the market and who can we best serve at that point? And so just keeping those things in mind, we're all good at what we do. We're all professionals. We've all been here a while and we know what works, and we just have to keep sticking to it. And so that's kind of the message right now.
And hurry up and buy.
Hurry up and buy.
Because the
Lock in your
rates
interest
could
rate before
skyrocket.
first. Yeah. You can. And like I said, I'm not sure, I don't have any magic crystal ball that says that, that we are going to default on the debt, but it is something that's out there and looming. With that market compression, with that looming, that's what's driving interest rates up right now, is just that uncertainty. And that's kind of that word uncertainty has kind of been the word for the past year and a half. We're uncertain as to what's going to happen. We're uncertain on whether inflation is going to keep rising. We're uncertain on what, the housing market's going to do. And so we've been weathering the storm for a while, as we all have. But we will, the reality is that there's still going to be money out there to lend, and there's still going to be clients out there that need to sell and buy. And we just have to work and guide them through that opportunity.
Mhm.
What else? As far as products go, I know, shifting over.
Let's just all take a deep breath, a collective deep breath.
It doesn't really sound like an opportunity.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, I know. It's vastly different than what we would call, opportunity. But if you guys remember when interest rates were 2s and we were going into the 7s and everybody was in panic mode, what happened? Things calmed down. Now we have buyers in the market at the 6.5%, 7% interest rates right now. So it took a while for things to calm down, but it did calm down. And now, for example, the spring market has arrived. That's what I feel. You guys are feeling it as well. The spring market has finally arrived. We personally had 47 applications in the last 30 days. So things are happening. People are wanting to buy. People are getting used to that 7% side. So in the same way that they'll get used to that, if it goes to 10 to 12, people will get used to it. It'll be the new normal. And then, we'll deal with it as well. So is business going to slow down? Yeah, absolutely. But again, it just takes a while for people to get used to that as the new normal, Same thing with everything, right? We just have to weather that storm and wait for it to get normalized.
Yes, actually.
If they don't default, will it just
Kind of remain where it's at.
the same?
Yeah. I have a feeling if they don't default, like they're pre-padding the interest rates right now to kind of make predictions as to what's going to happen. And that's a normal practice in the mortgage industry. So for example, as the Fed meetings come up, you'll see mortgage interest rates, even though they have nothing to do with the Fed announcing like increase in interest rates, it has to do with the inflation numbers. But as the Fed meets, you'll see mortgage interest rates creep up or go back down, depending on what they predict is going to happen with the Fed meeting. And so then right after that Fed meeting happens, depending on the results, they'll stay where they're at or they'll drop immediately after that. So it's just common trends in the mortgage industry. So the same thing is happening right now with when we kind of hear that looming as interest rates are creeping back up. The market compression is happening. They don't know what's going to happen. The uncertainty, they're predicting, if it does default that we have to, be higher in the interest rates than lower, things of that nature. So if it doesn't default and things will be status quo, and you'll probably see a little bit of a decrease then based on inflation numbers as well.
Does that meeting happen every year, or is it like every 4 years? Or
So the Fed meeting happens quarterly.
Okay.
So every quarter you're getting a Fed meeting and they're deciding whether or not to raise the prime rate. So prime rate is basically what the banks use to borrow or to lend money out to clients. Okay. So that's money for car loans, consumer debt, things of that nature, second mortgages, even that, are more short-term consumer debt. The mortgage index is different. the mortgage index lends on a treasury bond index. So the treasury bond is what kind of follows inflation and kind of goes up and down. However, with the Fed raising interest, the reason that the Fed raises interest rates or raises prime rate has mostly to do with inflation. So as inflation goes up, in other words, the cost of things go up, the Fed increases that interest rate to push down on the housing market, to push down and say, you know what, let's compress that amount of available buyers, push down on it and push those inflation numbers down, because housing is one of the biggest contributors to those inflation numbers. How much is housing costing me? How much are my utilities costing me? How much does it take to operate a utility company? And that cost is passed on to the client. How much do I have to hire an employee for? How much does it cost me to hire an employee to work at the utility company? And how much of that cost is going to pass down to the end consumer so that company can still remain profitable? And so that is what they talk about when they talk about just kind of that inflation and the cost of everything going up. It all stems back to the cost to hire somebody in a lot of ways. And so when they raise that prime rate, they push down on the available lending that's out there, and they push down on people going out and grabbing those goods so that that inflation number can kind of settle back down, if that makes sense. So there's obviously a lot of factors that go into it. That's just like your simplified version of what happens with the market. And so, yeah, I mean, we saw flat level inflation, which is flatlined inflation, or what they're calling flatlined inflation this last meeting. And so that's good news.
So when they raise the debt ceiling, they just make more money, right?
Yeah, they print more money. Yeah.
Keep
Just
printing
print
more
more.
money.
No big deal. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know, so
That's
that's
just crazy.
well, and they're saying that, you know, for the first time, like in a lot of ways, they're saying like raising the debt ceiling this time isn't gonna do anything, isn't gonna handle the problem. And so that's why they're saying, okay, do we default or do we not? Then there's that whole like currency issue and things like that, digital currency and international currency and things of that nature that are always fun to talk about, but we don't have time for that.
Thank you for Money Matters with
Yeah,
Nikki.
you're welcome. You're welcome. I wonder how I spend my days.
But see, I love that we can get this information from you, because I've reached out to her before with my daughter freaking out about something, and I'm like, Nikki, my daughter's sending me this. She's freaking out. It's all over whatever she's following. What's the lowdown?
Yeah.
Because I do consider you like literally one of the smartest people I know. So
Wow. Thank you.
I'm grateful for your knowledge in that area, because I'm just not interested.
Yeah. No,
I mean,
get
I'm
it.
interested in the end result, but I'm
Right.
not interested in
No,
all
I
the
get it. I get
reading
it.
and the watching and the
Yeah.
So
Nikki-
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Nikki, did that whole thing about penalizing people for having good credit and all that, did that go away?
No,
So
it is
it's
actually
still-
in the interest rates right now. So,
So it
that's
still
right.
is, okay.
so if we were to have a client who has a 780 credit score and putting 20% down, their rate is actually worse than a client that is at a 680 credit score putting 5% down. And we're talking worse by about 1/8 to 1/4 on any given day in interest rate, not cost of rate. So it's a pretty big difference. It really is. Now, whether that will stay, let's just say in theory, interest rates go up, whether that will stay, yet to be seen. When we talk about, where a lot of that adjustment actually goes away is if if you have your clients who can either put 25% down, then that adjustment goes away. Or if they put 5% down, then a major portion of that adjustment goes away.
Yeah.
So just trying to work through saying to the 780 borrower who has the 20%, hey, let's look at 25% and then let's look at 5% and then do a recast after the fact.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of strategy at this point. Plus, there's a lot more clients right now that are in the market that can qualify for special programs that are income-based programs that are out there on the conventional market that you guys wouldn't even know if we had a client that qualified for that income-based program, because it is just a conventional 3, 5, whatever 10% down product. But if they can qualify for that, all of those adjustments go away. So depending on what county you're in Minnesota and which client is purchasing, the income limit can be as much as 94,700 or something like that. And then, depending on what county it is. So that's one way we can get around it. Another way is, like I said, putting that 25% down, that avoids a lot of it, or using the 5% down strategy. But yeah, there's also like products out there where that banks, like actual local lending institutions, are trying to come up with to help alleviate those loan level price adjustments and saying, you know what, instead of lending on the secondary market like Fannie and Freddie, we're actually going to lend our own bank funds and become more profitable by lending our own bank funds because interest rates are higher. So we can collect some of that and we don't have to deal with the adjustments. So you'll start to see those come out as well. They'll probably, to be perfectly honest, they'll probably come out and they'll probably disappear out of the market just as fast as they came in. Kind of like ARM products, things of that nature that just fit a need for like 2 minutes and then get out of the market. Like last year, I think at this time we were talking about temporary buy downs. And how to get that interest rate back down. And it's like, nobody even does those anymore. So stuff that comes in and out of the market.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thanks for all the good news.
Hey, no problem. I was gonna say, I mean, the positive is we're getting loan applications. The spring market is here. You guys are seeing a lot of activity. There's homes coming on the market. I mean, those are all real positive things. The world still has to come around, and like we always say, this too shall pass.
People still have to move. Like everybody's circumstances are different, and some of them aren't going to change regardless of what happens with the rates. So
exactly.
So that's why we just keep pushing on, right?
Yep.
Does anybody else have any questions for Nikki? No. So Ashley, so you're busy. I'm busy. I know some others are feeling the spring busy as well. And so today I wanted to talk about leveraging and outsourcing, and really talking about how we as busy realtors, and this would apply to lenders as well. I mean, there's things that you need to outsource as well, just because we're trying to do all things. And so I would ask you to really consider, what do you enjoy doing? Like, do you know what your strengths are when it comes to your real estate business, right? What are your strengths? What do you enjoy doing? And then make a list of the things that you don't enjoy doing, right? Is there a way that you can outsource some of those things, right? To leverage your time, give you more time to do the things that make you more productive. And then in the end, give you a little more time for life, right? For your family to spend. I mean, I find myself some days like feeling like I can't fit it all in. And I need to make my family a priority. So I have gotten better at putting my grandkids' baseball and softball games on the calendar. And even if I can only make it to half of a game or the end of a tournament, right? I still am putting that on my calendar and I'm scheduling around it. But I would not be able to do that if I was still trying to do every single thing on my own without leveraging some of it out. So I wanted to talk about this because I think it's really important. And there's another flip side to it that I'll talk about after we talk to Ashley. But some of the things, and maybe you guys can add to this list, but I was thinking of what are the things that I'm outsourcing, or what could you be outsourcing that are taking up a lot of your time, and they're really not, you don't like doing them, right? So you put it off, it drags on, it takes way longer to do it when you could be focusing on the things that you are really good at and that you really enjoy doing. So first and foremost for me, it's transaction coordinating. I have always had a transaction coordinator. Ashley takes so much off of my plate, and I know that she works with a lot of you guys as well. But that's one thing. Another thing that I outsource, and not as much as I should, but because I really do love marketing and social media marketing, and that's kind of my background. But I do outsource part of my social media marketing to make sure that there's at least something going out consistently in case I'm too busy and can't fill in. I fill in when I can with the day-to-day stuff, but some of that consistent activity, I have somebody else do for me. Another thing that you can outsource, obviously, if you have your CRM automated to kind of at least be touching your clients on a regular basis, that's another good thing. Showings, right? If you're working with a lot of buyers, maybe you could leverage, you know, a showing assistant. Use somebody else to help take some of those showings and all of that time off of your calendar. What I have done in the past, it's been different, you know, based on different situations, but I either pay per showing or I have paid per showing. And if the agent shows a property to my client that my client ends up offering on, then I would offer like an additional bonus at closing. So I've kind of done things incentivized like that. Creative work, right? How about creating your buyer's packets, your seller packets, those kind of things? Is that something that you can outsource? Because I know for me, I can spend lots of time doing that stuff. I like doing it just because I like the creative part of it, but it is not income producing. So am I able to just pay somebody to do that, that knows what they're doing, that can do it way faster than me? That's something that you should consider as well. And I think we have a lot of shared resources amongst us and in the growth collaborative that we work with, that I think there's a lot of people out there that offer some of these services, or they have resources that are doing some of these things. And we've had some of these people on as guests as well on our Monday meetups. And virtual assistant. So I have Stephen now working with me, right, which wouldn't have happened honestly without Tracy Westendorp, without her putting that business in place and offering this and being that go-between for some of us. I would have never done it. And so you know, yes, it's a lot of work, but things are actually getting done that I wouldn't have been getting done beforehand. So I would ask you to open your mind, and I know it also requires us letting go a little bit of the control of all things, but leveraging it, I think it's really important. So I want to bring Ashley on. She is now the CEO and owner of Transaction Exchange, which yay girl, yay girl. So I want you to just share. I know some of us are already working with you, but some aren't. And like I said, we're going to share this on multiple other platforms as well. But we want to help you grow your business, and you help us so much. So tell us all things that Ashley does in your business in order to serve realtors.
Well, when this first started, so you touched on a lot of stuff about leveraging out your business. It goes back to, are you working in your business or are you working on your business?
Right.
And if you can leverage out, it ends up being lucrative to even hire a transaction coordinator. We don't bill you for like the bigger ticket item until after closing. So you can get paid and I can get paid, right? So you don't have to worry about overhead costs. You don't have to worry about salary. You don't have to worry about, like, if things are slow, you know, you don't have to worry much about any of those things because we work off of your schedule and your closings. So that is a really big piece where it's like you get a full-time assistant. We're available Monday through Friday, you know, 9 to 5 for the most part. Shar is available till 6. I answer my phone whenever I can, you know, but it's like getting a full-time like transaction coordinator, like an assistant. Like I have a lot of answers because I've closed a lot of files. So I'm able to reach out and know who to contact, especially with EXP. So it's like having a full-time assistant for a fraction of the cost. I looked it up. If you want to pay someone, an assistant in the United States, you'd have to close 142 transactions with us to individually to pay for it. So it ends up being, yeah, a very small fraction of what it could be.
Right.
And then with us, we do the transaction piece. So usually we don't come in until a contract signed and executed, listing or purchase. And then, you know, we take it from there. I always reach out if I have any questions, but I order title. I figure out all the details of the transaction and make sure that all the dates are being hit. I have a software system that tells me every day, like, this is coming up. This is, you need to do this today. Like, that's how I keep track. I have tasks every day that I go through each of my transactions so that nothing's missed. All the dates are in there and everything. So it's really nice. I have a team as well. So I was just gone. A lot of you guys know that I was in Vegas, but we have a team. So I have someone who covers me when I'm gone, but then we cover you when you're gone. So you can, go to your softball game if it's at noon on a Tuesday. It's okay, because if title reaches out, we have everything in front of us, all the documents, everything, so that if they need something, we can send it. And then we also are a teammate on your MLS. So if anything needs to be sent, we're able to send that out for you. We keep track of everything in SkySlope as well. So if the broker needs anything, we're on top of that. We'll either ask you for it if, we're unsure. Lately it's been lead-based paint. Someone's not checking the boxes of like, are we getting an inspection or not? Usually it's no, but we don't want to assume anything. So we're in contact with you a lot. If you're getting a phone call or a text from us, it's probably important. But yeah, we just, my thing is that we're all a people business. We just happen to be selling houses. So I want to help you guys as much as possible and take anything off your plate that I'm able to. And, vice versa. Like, you're helping me. I'm a small business, but, I'm able to make money because I'm doing a lot of transactions at once. So, but it's beautiful because I'm location free. I'm able to work wherever I want. So it's really cool for me.
But you also do listing, the listing side, right?
Yep.
Entering the listings.
Yep. So we do listing input management. So we enter everything into the MLS to make sure that everything's active. This is kind of newer to us, so we're still kind of working out the kinks, but either way, we're able to do everything on that end. If you need anything, we reach out. Garage square feet has actually been a common thing lately, but either way, we'll reach out to you if we need anything. And like, we go back and forth. We can get it withheld right away. We're just a partner throughout the whole thing. Like, it's just a partnership. And that's what we go off of. And our whole system is based off of relationships. Ninja Selling is what we base it off of. So like you were saying with your CRM, we're reaching out to you a month after closing and saying, hey, it's been a month. You should probably reach out to those people. Okay, it's been 6 months. You should probably reach out to those clients. And then after a year, we're like, hey, make sure, you put this in your calendar or whatever, so that you're able to stay in front of your clients so that they continue to use you. Because like, we want you to look great. That's the whole point of us transaction coordinating. We have everything right away. We're constantly answering, you're in front of your client, taking meetings and whatnot. So,
Right.
Yeah.
So also I'm going to add, as part of the transaction coordinating, there's a concierge service that you use for utilities. And I think the platform changed at some point.
Yes,
right?
it is. Yep. So it's called Citizen Home Services. We just came up with an email because I wasn't sure what the process was. So I did a little trial as my own. This was a change before I was the owner. So it was new to me. But they are a utility company that helps your clients switch over, and they reach out. So your client doesn't have to worry about anything except for answering their phone. And then they will connect utilities for buyers in that area. So it's really nice.
And I have good feedback. So Andrew and Megan, who just closed, they used that service, and both of them made a point of telling me how great it was, and it made it so easy. And so I was really glad to hear that, because I know a lot of people just don't pay attention. They don't answer the call. They don't use it. But now that I have good feedback from a client, like, I will make sure that I let my clients know this is coming, right?
Yeah, and as soon as, so in my software system, once I fill out the closing information sheet with all the details of the transaction, I switch it to pending, so they'll call within 48 hours, but they keep trying too. I think they try like 4 times. So if your client's like, who is calling? What did you sign me up for? I feel like a lot of people are like, what is this? You know? So if you let your clients know, they'll reach out more than once, but it's really, really helpful.
Right.
Like for the buyers, so they don't have to call XL Energy and Spectrum and whoever else, the city of St. Cloud. I'm just using mine as examples, but they don't have to call around to multiple places. They just have to answer their phones. So we try to make it best for them.
And also you have, you send out, asking for testimonies or reviews afterwards as well.
Yeah. So we use, Real Satisfied is the site that we use. We also send out, so not only do we send it to client, we actually send out peer reviews as well, which I think is really helpful. It does not get posted anywhere, but having the feedback from other agents, even if it is good, you know, it's nice to advertise that, like, hey, like this person really liked working with me. Like I really am I communicate and I'm here and like all of that. So we send it not only to the clients, but to the opposing agent as well. So
there's a lot of things that
a lot of things moving.
that transaction exchange does that some other transaction coordinators don't do. So I want to make sure I mention that because I get a lot more services out of working with you, Ashley, than I did in the past. So I'm very grateful for that. I see Mary has a question.
Well, Ashley's awesome. So I just have to say that. But when you're talking about that utility, is there a way to find out if like a particular client did use that or?
I have a dashboard on my end that says if someone either opted out or decided to go with it. And I can also, if they say they don't answer their phone, and then they were like, oh, I didn't realize that was them, I'm able to either send them the phone number for the service, or I can sign them up again so that they call them back, if that makes sense.
Right.
But yeah, I have a dashboard. So if you just text me, I can let you know if they.
Okay, because I was going to give him all the information today because I wasn't, I guess I didn't read all my emails or something about that option. So thank you.
Yes. Yeah, what other questions? So I mean, I'm thankful Lisa just signed up with me, so all good feedback.
Well, and I will say, I mean, you've helped a lot. Like I was having issues with my Authentisign, you know, so I was able to have it all ready and call Ashley and ask her to send it out for me. Or, and Candace is not feeling well, but she shared this morning in a text that she got an offer received last night. Her client won out of 14 offers. So congrats, Candace. And she said she's grateful to have Ashley to handle the next steps. So, I mean, it's important to have that extra person.
And another set of eyes is always like a good thing, just to, you know, especially right now with the spring market going on, having that extra set of eyes of, you know, just, I feel like written statements get forgot about a lot and things like that, where it's like, oh, that's due. Like I totally, you know, we forget about it. So
yes. Lisa, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, you know, I've been doing real estate for 21 years and I have never had a transaction coordinator, but you know, what I'm excited about is because I like doing it. I have checklists. I'm really good at it, but I know that in order, like you were saying, Chrissy, in order to get to the next level, I've got to let go of things that I like and that I'm good at in order to, you know, have more time. And just like you said, Chrissy, I want to spend more time with my grandkids and all of that. So while I can do it and I do it very well, it's going to be fun to just go, I think it's going to be fun. I don't know yet. Just have Ashley go, I got it, Lisa, don't worry about it. So it's well worth, the fee is so low compared to what it will bring for me.
Exactly. That time freedom is priceless. And I feel like there's so much that she catches, because I literally just let it go. Like, I don't micromanage the dates and whatnot. And I so appreciate the email that goes out that says, hey, we need just a reminder, we need the written statement today. And like last week, you know, she was more on top of my closing than I was. I was running around like a crazy person, and she's reaching out to me going, we still don't have clear to close, and we haven't heard from the lender, and you know, what's going on. And that was, you know, less than 24 hours prior to the closing. And me, I'm just thinking, well, I haven't heard anything, so everything must be good. You know, and thankfully, I'm really grateful that you sent that out, because I was like, well, yeah, you're right. We haven't got that clear to close yet. What's going on? So yeah, it's really nice to have. And like you said, it's transaction based, right? So we have this great partner in our business that we only have to worry about paying based on transaction, versus, you know, like you said, carrying another salary that, especially with the way things have been, most of us can't afford right now. So
Who knows if you can, especially like I think about, you know, I have to save up for the winter months. Like, if you have a salary looming over, it's like, oh, like hopefully you get a closing, you know, and you don't want to in that scarcity either, you know, you don't want to live in that mindset.
Right.
So it's just nice being like, okay, we're closed, I'll pay you in a couple days when I get my commission. And
yeah.
And with EXP, it's really nice that you guys can charge an admin fee too, because if you're individual, you know, that can go back towards you know, paying me. So really, then you really don't see as much of it.
It offsets it. I still charge a broker admin fee, and it offsets my cost to Ashley. So it's basically a free service.
Yeah, it's really
not
cool.
free to my clients, but free to me.
Yeah. Right. But they're paying for, you know, all the things that another set of eyes. So
exactly. No, I really appreciate your help, and obviously I hope we continue to help you grow, and we all appreciate working with you. So thanks.
Yeah,
Ashley.
I really appreciate you guys as well.
I was just gonna
Go ahead, Mary.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just gonna maybe share too, just to have it out there, but Ashley and I are working through a rental listing, so which is new, and you know, kind of what EXP needs and etc. like that. So that's also kind of a service that she offers.
Yeah, we're just kind of working through it and figuring it out as we go, but that's how I learn, you know. And when new things come up, we just tackle it head on.
Right, exactly. Well, thanks, Ashley. I just wanted to mention too, for you know, there are agents out there that, you know, may not be as busy as some of us are. I mean, obviously I feel super blessed that it's finally coming back around, but I would encourage other agents, like if you have some of these skills, right, these strengths, and you have more time on your hands right now, you know, what can you, maybe there's something you can offer out to the other agents in your network to help obviously generate some income for yourself while helping somebody else open up their calendar, right? Give them a little more time freedom. I mean, there's people that are great at social media. You know what, if that's you, maybe you can offer up your services to some other agents, be a showing assistant, whatever it is, you have that ability, but you have to put it out there, right? Figure out what you enjoy doing, what you're good at, and then take that and figure out how can you start helping others and helping yourself at the same time, right? Because there's a lot, I'm that lab coat agents group. There are a lot of agents struggling right now. A lot of them with many things.
Yeah,
What-
we're
what
coming
was
up
that,
on that time where people are either going to renew their license or not. And
Yeah.
so I think it's important that's an important point, is what can you be doing if you're not making money right now? And, with our business, Minnesota Real Estate Mentors, we help newly licensed, but we also can help, people who want some additional coaching to get themselves to the next level. So if you know of somebody that's considering, okay, I don't know what to do, I'm going to give up my license, I'd love to talk with them as well.
Right, right. What I'm seeing on there is like both ends. I'm seeing agents, the question keeps coming up. What can I do to start getting more business? They're asking for ideas and options. And so there's that issue going on, because we know, transactions are down, yet there's so many more agents out there even than there were 2 years ago. And in addition to that, I'm seeing a lot of questions out there with people that need support. Like I'm really blown away with some of these questions. It's like, don't you have support? Like, can't you call your broker? Like, don't you have agents in your network that can talk you through this? It's really interesting, but I think there's a lot of options out there, and I think it's just really sitting down. If you've got free time that you want to be filling and you need to be making more money, I think there are ways to do it, but you really need to get real with yourself, right? You have to come up with a plan. You need to put it out there if you want to stay in this business. Because from the sounds of what Nikki just said, it could even get harder.
Yeah. It's never easy. I mean, come on.
No,
It's just,
no, it's not.
it's the same thing in lending. I mean, there's a time where, like, it's not as much of a big renewal season as it is in real estate, but there are definitely loan originators that have left the business in droves over the last year, and not being able to hold on simply because they don't know what to do. They don't know how to, play in the market. They don't know how to generate that business. And like you said, Chrissy, finding other things to do while this market, this lull is temporary, and just being able to offer what you're good at to other people around you is really what's going to help bring you through. I agree.
Right. I was invited to a past client's birthday party this past weekend. And 3 of them there work for Wells Fargo. Even though they work for Wells Fargo, one of them worked with you, Nikki. You closed their loan, the Dormans.
Awesome. Oh yeah, right on.
Yeah. So 3 of them work for Wells Fargo, and really interesting conversations. So there's been, obviously, we all know, many rounds of layoffs within Wells Fargo. And one of them told me they believe they've let go of 70%.
I believe it.
70%. And somehow they've still made it through with jobs. One of them just started working as a lender, I want to say within the last 2-3 years. He said there's no rhyme or reason to why I still have a job. When you look at, he said they were saying it's been pretty random. Who's been let go.
I do know one of the very, 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 very top mortgage originators for Wells Fargo in the Minnesota area. After 30 years at Wells Fargo, producing amazing numbers, doing an amazing job, just a great person in general, she was let go.
Yeah. They said it's been very random.
It is super random. She couldn't believe it. She was like, what? Of all the people. And so she ended up having to go be placed in another lender, et cetera. But really interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. But is it true that Wells Fargo is still not they're not doing new mortgages, right?
They are doing mortgages for their private mortgage banking clients.
Right.
So, or private banking, people with wealth of 250 or more, I think in the banking is what qualifies them. And so, they aren't, you can't just walk into a Wells Fargo and be like, hey, can I have a mortgage?
Yeah.
A lot of that has to do with not only just where they want to be from a lending standpoint, but a lot of it has to do with the AI and the changes that they're making to their systems to help just predict mortgage payback and not having to hire people in order to do mortgages. So
Mm.
it's really interesting. They're really interesting to see what happens in the next couple of years with that.
Yeah.
So
Well,
can I do a shameless plug for a quick?
yes.
All right, cool. So Lisa Martin actually reminded me, she said she was going to be attending my an event tomorrow where I'm actually speaking. So Minnesota or MNRIA has a section of it called Life in Air, which is a group of people who are interested in investing in real estate from a personal standpoint. So a lot of the topics that they cover, they'll have speakers each month, and they'll cover different topics surrounding investment properties and purchasing and strategies and rentals and how to do it and all these things. So tomorrow evening, I'm going to be speaking to their group regarding rental properties in Arizona, how to manage rental properties from Minnesota when you have properties in other states, what the benefits are, how to, short-term rents, mid-term rents, what are the lending options, what are some unique ways we can help, put lending to those purchases. How can you grab equity out of your current home in order to facilitate one of those purchases, things like that, where I'm going to be actually speaking and just giving advice and telling kind of my story on how we grew our rental properties and why and what the strategy is behind it. So
What's it called?
it's called Life in Air. So it's like life, and then it's like a combination of life and millionaire. So Life in Air. Yeah.
Can anybody attend these things?
And you can attend as a guest. Yep.
Okay.
And so I will put, let's see here. It's at the Devani's in is it Edina? Let me just look. I think it's still Edina.
It is.
Yeah,
Right.
it is. Okay. Yeah, Devani's in Edina, and it's the networking is from 6:30 to 7, and then I speak from 7 to like whenever time runs out, and
Okay.
then or whenever people stop asking questions, and it usually ends about 8 o'clock. So
Okay.
yeah, so it should be interesting
you-
and fun.
Are you putting something in the chat?
I can, yeah.
Well, good to know about this. Oh, I think maybe you mentioned something about this to me before, but not that you were speaking.
Yeah, I do go to it. I do attend it. And I've gotten some actually really good feedback from not only like my rental business, but just in general. And
Yeah.
surprisingly, it's not just full of realtors. It's not. It's actual people who are wanting to invest in real estate, actual clients, people who are interested in building their portfolio with real estate. And so there
Okay.
are, and if there are realtors that attend, I'm not kidding you. It is like once in a while they'll be there. It's not, they don't come consistently, which is really interesting to me as well.
Well, you had me at Devani's, so.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. And so you can eat while you're there. It is like dinner kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
okay. Yeah, put the info in the chat.
yeah, I will right now.
I think I would like to check that out.
Well, I think it's kind of about like mindset too, right?
Yes.
I every month I want to go and then I don't. So now when Nikki was speaking, I'm like, okay, this is the month I'm going to go. But I think it's like inspirational kind of too. And so
Yep. It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
finally going to go.
Lynn Anderson, who is the woman that runs the networking or the Life in Air group. Chrissy and Candace and I met her at
Yes.
at Lisa and
Yeah.
Angie.
Thank you. I was gonna say Ashley. Lisa and Angie's event where we went over to and sat around the table, and that's where Lynn was, and that's how we got connected. That's how I got connected with her. And I started going to those networking groups.
Okay,
Yeah. So
love it. Okay. Did you put it in the chat?
I'm working on it.
Okay. Sorry, no pressure.
Yeah, really. Okay. There, it's there.
Okay, do you have to like register?
Nope, you don't have to register. It's just come just come as you are. And then, so they have, like I said, it's, you order your pizza or whatever you want to order, and they'll bring it into you while we're going through things, while we're speaking. And usually it's about, I'd say on average, there's about 20 to 25 people there. Some of them are there like consistently, and then some of them are just one-offs and whether or not they come back. So it's really interesting.
Okay.
It's an interesting group of people. And I'm actually closing on a loan for a client next week that I met at this event.
Oh, good.
So it's actually brought business, which is really cool too. I was just going to it to be like leaning on others and finding out from others like how they invest in real estate so I could get ideas and stuff. Just to kind of expand our portfolio, things of that nature. Cause yeah, we have rental properties, but I was like, maybe I want to do storage units. Maybe I want to do something else, So that was my original purpose, but yeah, it's actually produced business. So, which is nice.
Well, wonderful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll come in to support you. I mean, even all the way out to Edina.
Yeah, it is a trek, but
It is.
that's okay.
That's okay. Well, awesome. Does anybody else have anything else they want to share before we wrap up our meeting for today? No? Oh, hey, my HUD buyer got their offer accepted. Did I tell you that, Nikki?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Are we waiting for the HUD to do the purchase agreement still?
I'm waiting I had to submit a bunch of documents on Saturday, so I'm waiting. So yeah.
Let's go.
Fun.
Like, oh, that's a first HUD closing, and I think it's been 3 years since I've done one, 3-4 years.
Really?
Yeah. They weren't coming up very often, I'll tell you that.
Right.
But nobody was in foreclosure.
No, nobody was. No.
Well, wait,
So
okay, so I did one last August and he was working with a different lender, but then you did Zach Jocelyn's. I guess that wasn't a HUD home. It was in foreclosure, but it wasn't. Okay.
Yeah, so a HUD home specifically is an FHA foreclosure.
Yeah.
So otherwise you can just purchase obviously a regular foreclosure.
They're lots of fun.
They are. They're when you, just a side note, completely having to do with nothing with anyone on here, but when you do get the purchase agreement from them, ask them to send over the appraisal as well. Because we use their appraisal to lend. Just an FYI.
Okay. HUD. All right, got my notes. All right. Well, you
It was good to
guys.
see everyone.
Yes, I would encourage everybody to take a deep breath, slow down, and remember when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. So keep that in mind. Deep Thoughts by Chrissy.
I love it.
All right, guys,
Great.
have a great week. And well, we don't have enough of my group on here to share the next thing. So look in work chat, EXP agents, look at work chat for an update for Wednesday meetings.
Bye, guys.
Okay, bye.